I've been doing some work on the house and stuff and taking some time off. Me and wife have been doing some paintings. But today, I want to make some more progress on this. As you can tell, since the last video, I've glued these extensions on as well. I routed out, did the same thing along the edge that I did to do these. So they overlap and like key together. So they're nice and firmly glued. It's not just the edge. Gives a bigger gluing surface when you do that. So now I have the basic thing here. Next step is really going to be sanding and smoothing it out, get a nice shiny finish on there, so I can make it a mold, fill in all the holes, fill in all the detents. That way I can start really getting it ready to lay some stuff on it. But before I do that, one more thing. I'm going to make these removable as well, so they'll kind of bolt on, and I'll cover that with some stuff so it can, if you want, you can unbolt them and move them for a different bike if I want to make the fenders different. But I gotta fill the gap now between this and my forks, so that way it pulls out even with the fork. And I'll probably end up making little brackets that'll go there as well. Let's see how much of a distance we have to cover though, because I'll probably make it so it kind of flares out there for that. Let's see what we got. Yeah, we'll try this. Oh, as you notice, I also did some cleaning in here. You can see wood again. That's kind of amazing, isn't it? All right. So let's figure out how wide this is overall. If these calipers are big enough. Oh, they are. All right, so there's our overall width. 4.58, so 4.5 inches is our overall width. And what is our width here? .6, is that right? Let's go to the end. That's not right, hang on. .7. Yep. So 3.75. So got to make up 3/4 of an inch and a little flare, which is really nothing. I'm going to leave it flat. I'm not going to make it flare out, because I'm going to want to make some brackets to clamp to everything as well that I can mount on here. And that'll really give me, because if I have that gives me about a 1/2 inch, right? Which will, I mean, be able to do it about 1/4, because I want some meat all around that bracket. So if I do it without it, 3.74, that only gives me 3/4 of an inch. Divide that by half, right? Because you'll have half on each side. And we're talking, what, 0.35, somewhere around 0.35, 36, 37, something like that. 0.375, I think. So that much room, that'll be in my bracket. I'll probably end up making something similar to these on a triple tree, maybe, so I can clamp it to that. So that being said, next step, smooth it, fill it, get it glossy. So let's get started on that. Shouldn't take too long there. One thing I want to do, I want to get all the high spots sanded first. If I get the high spots sanded, then I can worry about filling it, sand it again. Probably just put it on here so I'm away from everything. We'll open the door, maybe go outside a little bit, get some sunshine today. Keep the dust out of my garage. Rolls on gravel pretty good, huh? It's my off-road chair. My off-road art chair. Goes good with my easel that's got all the flex in the world, all the suspension flex. Can go over any rough terrain. It's actually quite amazing capability, isn't it? So we'll take just a regular DeWalt DA sander. Let's get some stuff on there. This is all used. I'm running real low here, real low. That's my last sheet right there. So I'll use some rough stuff for this because I'm gonna have to put some filler on there anyway. So let's get taken down quickly. There's that. So not much, just a slight edge. That side's smooth. Let's get the other side. I know is when the color change. You can see here it's real bright. It's sanding off the spot that's been exposed, and with the polyurethane, it's sanding that off. But here it's not changing. Here it gets bright when it's level all the way up to that edge. You can see it's brighter over here, darker in there. It's still exposed. I want to sand it till it's all uniform looking. And now you see it's bright all the way to the edge. It's nice and smooth. There we go, nice and buttery smooth. Buttery baby butt. So, now that we got that, I'm gonna hit it with some air, blow it off, get all that dust out of it. And pine kind of grows when you put stuff on it, right? It's like that's what it's called, like the grain raises on it. It swells up and stuff. So I don't want to put filler on it yet. What I want to do is I want to get that surface finished so it's kind of stabilized for the most part. It won't be perfectly stabilized, but so it'll be sort of stabilized, so when I put the finish on it, or it won't grow and pop off the filler or make it appear uneven. So once we get this dust off of here, all right, now that we got all that off of it, next thing I want to do is get some polyurethane on here. So just gonna rub it on, nothing crazy. So let's see, I'll put it somewhere where I'm not gonna have to move it for a while. So we'll set it over here, and I'll close the door here, so that way we keep the wind to a minimum so it doesn't get dust and stuff all over it. Let me get all my shit back in here. And I know it sounds crazy, I keep talking about finishing this, right? Why am I gonna finish it? Well, for fiberglass to not stick to it very well, it needs a very smooth surface. If it doesn't have a very smooth surface, the fiberglass is just gonna stick to it and I'll never get it to pop off. So I need smooth matters. All the little imperfections are little spots that it can grab a hold of. And once it grabs a hold of them, it's gonna be ridiculous to try and separate it, whether you're using a separating parting agent or not. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take this guy here, we're gonna stir it up a little bit. I'm gonna get one to wipe it on and one to clean my screwdriver. And I'm also going to get myself a pair of gloves because I don't want this shizzle all over my fizzles. You know what I mean, the bizzle? All right. Now you want to stir. You want to kind of stir from the bottom up. Doesn't look like anything's happening at all. It may be the instructions say to stir up because sometimes the product can separate out. I don't know. Doesn't appear that that's the case yet. So here we go. You know what? I'm gonna use the same one. And now I just want to get it everywhere and let it dry. I'll probably do 3 coats of it on here, so that way it can be absorbed into that surface nicely before I end up doing any filler on it. One thing I don't want to do is I don't want runs and marks. That's why I'm using a rag here to wipe it on. Can wipe it on fairly even. And quickly. Let's get it in those grooves, squeeze a little extra out, make sure it gets all up in there and seals it. Oh, yes. All right. Get some on the edge too, even though I don't think I'm gonna finish the edges. This will keep it from kind of maybe help seal it though. Now pine, that's what I'm using, right? See, it's got this big, wide open grain. It's not very tight at all. That's why the grain raises too. It absorbs this stuff like butter. It's thirsty. Everything's butter. It's smooth like butter. It absorbs it like butter. It absorbs this stuff like I absorb butter. How about that? Is that better? Better butter? And we'll just whap it on. Yeah, I've always had better luck getting a more even and smoother finish wiping it on rather than using a brush or anything. Typically whenever I do a brush, you get brush strokes and runs, and it's like really hard to get it even. I don't know. but can usually do pretty darn good with just a rag. Now you'll notice the rag starts breaking down. It will leave lint. It will feel rough. So if you ever noticed, the can of polyurethane, usually, I think I read this one, it says to use steel wool on it, and that gets rid of, roughs it a little bit, and it'll knock all that stuff that's sticking up off. Otherwise, next time I go to rip it, or go to put it on there, it will literally shred the whatever rag I try to use, because it'll have like these little things, little grain particles and dust and everything else in it. It'll make it like super rough, like sandpaper. So whenever I come on, I won't put those in the video. I'll probably show you the finished one whenever I start the next video. So you can see what I did here. I don't want to overload you with videos though, especially since this one to me doesn't seem like it did very much. The next coat's going to be harder to get even. I'm going to pick it up, maybe get up here, get it in the light so I can watch the glare and look at the surface, because this one's going to soak it in. It's going to be all relatively flat, but it already looks wet, right? Changed color. The next one, it's already wet. It's not going to look wetter. It's going to be glossier. So you're going to want to be able to see the texture on the second and third coats to make sure you don't get any runs. The only reason I want to get runs is because if I get runs, it's just harder to sand them off, and you won't be able to sand them off without sanding off the other finish around it, and blah, blah, blah. It's a vicious cycle of sanding and finishing and sanding and finishing and sanding and finishing. So if you start with a smooth coat, you'll have less of that, and that way when we go to put our final layer on, our filler, it'll be much quicker and easier. We'll have to fill less, and we'll have an more even coat to work with. Less manual labor. Who wants to do that, right? All right, well, use the Minwax fast drying polyurethane. Stuff's the bomb. It takes a couple hours and then it's ready to go. That being said, I am ready to go too. So I'll see you next time. This was a quick one. Soak it up. It ain't gonna last long.